In this short video, I'd like to talk about how to apply behavior event interview technique for admission into colleges and universities, particularly the B schools. The first important criteria that you should have, which is a starting point for applying behavior event interview, is to identify list of competencies that are required to be a successful student or successful learner in your college. What it is required to complete studies, besides the usual uh, numerical and language abilities that you test through aptitude tests. Mind you, we are talking about what do you assess during the interview. For the interview, you already would have a good biographic form filled by the individual. In fact, for BEI, you have to redesign the form. Since you may not want everyone to uh, answer all the questions that are required for interview, and you only want people who come for interview to answer this, you can have a specially biographically designed BEI form. The biographic information asks a few things like uh, name, number, sex, age, etc., plus details of the work experience, the kind of activities that the person has done if the person had work experience. If the person didn't have work experience, the kind of extracurricular activities he gets involved besides completing his studies and things like that. So the biographic information deals with trying to capture all the activities the individual would have done in the previous 2 to 3 years prior to the time when interview is being conducted. Uh, then the most important part of the biographic information form is a set of two questions. Question number one: please list below three high points in the last 2 to 3 years of your student or work life. Similarly, please list below 2 to 3 low points or times when you felt very upset, unhappy, depressed, disappointed, etc. This is called as low points. High points, uh, points where you felt excited, happy, uh, and so on. So high points can be anything. It could include passing of a particular kind of an exam. It could include accomplishing, achieving of certain kind of targets. It could include pleasing somebody. Anything. I think there is nothing like the right or wrong answer. Anything which got you excited is a high point, and anything that brought you down in terms of your spirits is a low point. Please write below three high points and three low points. When we say below, you briefly describe these high points in at least about 6 7 sentences. So he will have three high points, 3 multiplied by about 6 7, that's about 20 to 25 sentences. Similarly, three low points. Uh, some people, of course, may not be able to write, some of them may manufacture them, it doesn't matter. This is the preparation for the BEI. And when you start your BEI, you will have in front of you whatever this individual has written. And in a quick glance of these questions, you will get to understand what are some of the things that the person is interested in. Because the high points reveal motives of the individual, likes of the individual, dislikes of the individual. This could deal with a profession, this could deal with anything. It doesn't matter what it deals with. But what we are interested is why is it, how has that particular point become a low point? What was the person thinking? What was the person doing at that point of time? What are all the activities that he has done? And what made him the so called high point? What did he do subsequently? In other words, we are concerned about knowing the story of the individual. The person has to very quickly narrate to you the story of all the activities he or she was involved in to the point of it becoming a high point and so on. Similarly, a low point. It doesn't matter what is the reason for the low point. We are interested in getting the story again of the individual. Now, each story may take about 3 to 4 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. So it's about 15 minutes for high points, 15 minutes for low points. So a BI could easily take about half an hour. However, if you want to be faster, you can limit yourself to one high point and one low point. or two high points and two low points. It all depends on the time, it all depends on the facility that the individual has, and so on. I think it is worth spending 15 to 20 minutes time trying to understand the competencies of this individual. Then comes the most important issue of understanding uh, the qualities of the individual. Normally, you find the way the person narrates his or her story, you will discover the person is highly initiative taker, or a team worker, or a good reader, or a comprehensive person, or a person who is interested in helping. So you start looking for the kind of qualities that you are looking for. It will give you some insights about the qualities. If for some reason you have not found any of these qualities in your interview, you are most welcome to ask the individual pointed questions. I was looking for what we sometimes call as helping nature. Can you tell me, in the last 2 to 3 years, any activity you have undertaken where you solved the problems of some other person? Tell me. So, your focus of the entire behavior event interview is on what the person has done, what the person thought, and the way the person operates, and so on. So, McClelland's theory is people can't tell lies about what they have done. And especially if you are moving from one activity to other activity, there is no time to think. They can't fib. They will tell you the truth. If they are not telling the truth, interviewer is smart enough to find it out. But whatever the person is narrating is going to give you a good indication of the kind of personality he is. And the from the judgment that you can make, if three of you are interviewing, even if one person is asking questions, the other people are noting down, you will get enough of information, and then you are able to assess the qualities like whether the person is an initiative taker, team worker, explorer. Does the person plan well? Does the person organize well? Is he sensitive to time? Is he sensitive to other people? Is he customer driven? Any number of qualities that you can think of. It is possible to assess. You have already a pre-assessed determined list of qualities that you are looking for. All that you need to do is, two or three of you who are interviewing the individual, simply as you are listening to the person, identify the indicators of these qualities. And at the end of it, if you use a 5 point scale or 10 point scale, it's very easy for you to quantify the individual and say that this individual is high on empathy, or high on speed of action or initiative, or he is a very creative problem solver, or he is very humanistic in his approach, or he is conceptual. He has excellent, even if you are looking for things like reading habits, comprehension, and things like that, extrovert, introvert, intuitive, all kind of qualities can be assessed using the BEI technique. Friends, BEI is a very powerful technique. If you start using BEI, where there is only one important principle, I would like to assess the individual on the basis of what he or she has done, whether as a student or as an employee, or, or as an unemployed student searching for a job, whatever it is. I think people are spending their time. And if you are looking at last 2 3 years, every person would have spent 2 multiplied by 365 days multiplied by 24 hours. Uh, I think it's not difficult to get the kind of things the person is interested in. You decide what motivates the person, what is it that the person values, what are the kind of things that the person feels proud of doing, and things like that. So BI has been found to be a very, very powerful kind of a technique, and it is useful. As I mentioned earlier, it is useful if you start with a competency framework. Most B schools don't start with a competency framework. They simply say that we have smart people who are PhDs, and there are lecturers, there are readers and professors. They have the capability. But don't be surprised if they are capable only in selecting people like them, who probably will go for academics rather than going to be successful executives in rural areas, or in financial sector, or in health sector, or in complicated uh, corporate sector, and things like that. Therefore, I recommend enough preparation is required before you undertake a BI. But if you prepare well and do a BI, you will start enjoying. In fact, you will discover that you are a changed interviewer. You are much more competent interviewer, and you will also become perhaps a competent teacher and a competent manager. BI is a great technique. Please read, go to the net, find out behavior event interviewing or competency based interviewing and so on, and try to improve the quality of admissions into your university, college, or institution. All the best from TVRLS.